Yes, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another episode. Now, if now, of course, some of you didn't, and most people didn't watch my Premier League predictions. Only five people. So hopefully there will be more people who enjoy my episode. And yeah, I saw somebody in the comments saying that my episode was good. So big up to that person who commented on that. And don't worry, like I said, from game one all the way to game 38, I'll be doing predictions and I'll be reviewing them. So in this video today, I'm going to go over my predictions for match day 1. Some of them I was close to getting 3 points. Others I got I've got the my but others I got my prediction wrong. So I'll give you what my prediction is and what the actual score is. But before I do, if you are new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell notification so that you never miss any of my content, and don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy my episodes and my show on Premier League predictions, and I will be reviewing them. So without further ado, here we go. Now, before I talk about my prediction, let me give you some basic rules. For those people who are new to Premier League predictions and reviewing them, I'll tell you what the rules are. If you usually watch like AFTV or all these channels, you know what the rules are. But if those of you who are new, let me just give you some basic rules. And I'm going to use Brentford and Arsenal as an example. So the basic rule is if I predict a Brentford win but of 2-1, but the actual score ended it in a draw or an Arsenal win, I get 0 points because I only predicted a Brentford win when the actual game ended a draw or an Arsenal win, so I get 0 points. I get 1 point if I predicted a Brentford win of 2-1. Let's say if I predicted a Brentford win of 2-1, but the actual score ended maybe 2-0 to Brentford, then I get 1 point because even though I predicted a Brentford win, I didn't expect Brentford to get a clean sheet. But the way I saw the way I saw Thomas Frank outclass Arteta and going free at the back, I just knew they would keep a clean sheet. So yeah, I know I got 1 point for that one. And that's the same for a draw. If I went for a 1-1, but the actual score was 0-0, then I get 1 point for predicting a draw, but not my actual prediction. So I get 1 point for that one. And then lastly, if I got the exact same prediction right, let's say if that game actually did went Brentford 2, Arsenal 1, then I get 3 points. And the same thing goes for a draw. If I predicted a 1-1 and the actual score did end 1-1, then I also get 3 points. So that's how it basically works. If you didn't understand, make sure you go back to the basic rules so that you can get the understanding of what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. And then at the end of my reviewing my predictions, I'm going to tell you how many points I got at the end. So since the maximum points is 3 and there's 10 matches in each match day, 3 times 10 equals 30. So I'll tell you how many points I got out of the 30, and and I'll tell you what my result is and how I feel about that one. So without further ado, here we go. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my prediction on the left hand side so that you guys can remember what I predicted, and then the actual result that ended in the game, so that you guys can understand of why I predicted like Brentford to win, like Brighton and Burnley to draw, or and predicting Arsenal to lose. So that's what I'm gonna do. So in my review, I'm going to put my prediction on the left and the actual result on the right, and I'll tell you how many points I got. So the first game of the new season is, of course, Brentford versus Arsenal. Now, in my prediction, I predicted a Brentford win of 2-1, but the actual score was Brentford 2-0. Now, like I said, I didn't personally think that Brentford would keep a clean sheet, but the way I saw that lineup, three at the back, five in midfield, and two up top, I've been saying to myself, boy, I think they're going to keep a clean sheet. I think they will because Thomas Frank outclassed Mikel Arteta. And I saw somebody in the comments saying, just one person saying, I cannot believe you're predicting a Brentford win. But do you see why I did that? It's because, like I said in my predictions on last Friday, Arsenal are not ready this season. They are not ready. They don't know how to defend from corners and from set pieces. Thomas Frank had a plan because I think maybe he saw Arsenal playing in pre-season and he knows that Arsenal aren't good at defending from corners and set pieces. For the first goal, they conceded a corner or maybe a set pieces. For the second goal, that Brentford player throws the ball. These Pablo Maui or Ben White couldn't keep it out, and then Norwood scored. So I knew that Brentford are going to beat them because I think that Thomas Frank is going to have a plan and he's going to outclass Mikel Arteta on Friday night. And that's exactly what happened. So when I said that Arsenal are not ready this season, people think I'm saying it as a Chelsea fan, but I'm being honest. I'm being honest. If you look at the pre-season, they've lost to Hibs, they've lost to Chelsea, they lost to Tottenham. They drew one game, which is of course Rangers, and they only beat Watford and Millwall. They have the most defeats in pre-season than wins or draws. So that's why I'm thinking, no, I don't think Arsenal are going to beat Brentford because they just don't know how to defend. If Arsenal did well in pre-season, then yes, I would have predicted that Arsenal win. But see the way Arsenal play, not defending well, and especially not doing well in the final third, I just had to predict a Brentford win. So yeah, Arsenal fans, if you're watching this, as a Chelsea fan, I've got to be honest and say to this, you are not ready this season. If your manager Mikel Arteta stays, you're going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. I don't think they'll be relegated because that would be a shock. That would be a shock to see Arsenal relegated. I don't think that will happen. But I think they're going to be in like a mid-table team or maybe a bit lower than that if Mikel Arteta stays and Arsenal just keep on making the one of the worst performances ever. So yeah, Arsenal fans, you are not ready. Your team are not ready this season. And I said it, and like I said before, then if they're not ready, then results are gonna go worse. Arsenal always like to break records in a bad way, not in a good way, in a bad way. The first time that they've lost to a promotive side since they've lost to Bristol City like in 1970s or something like that. They always like to break the worst records, Arsenal. So yeah, Arsenal fans, I feel bad for you. And yeah, just it is what it is. So let's move on into the next game. Man United beat Leeds United, sorry. So in my prediction, I went for a Manchester United win of 4-2, but the actual result was 5-1 against Leeds. Now, I knew that there would be lots of goals because Man United against Leeds is a big rivalry. Big rivalry. They haven't faced each other for a long while, but during the 2000s, they had a big rivalry. Like, they didn't like each other, so that's why they call it a rivalry game. And I expected a goal. So yeah, Bruno Fernandes. Paul Pogba that becomes the first Manchester United player to score to assist for to have four assists. Sorry, and Bruno Fernandes scoring a hat trick in his first game was absolutely brilliant. And that's why I said that Leeds. I don't think they have a chance of beating Manchester United or Old Trafford when you've got players like like Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, all these best players, then they know what they're gonna do. I mean, when it went to 1-1, I was thinking, my God, 1-1. But still have faith in Manchester United, and that's exactly what happened in the second half. Four goals in the second half. But during that 1-1, that was a great goal. I can't remember who that player was, but that was a fantastic goal. Early, just best goal of the season already. from that Leeds United player who scored. So well done. I cannot remember his name, but that was good. But then after that, Leeds just completely fell apart and allowed Manchester United to beat them. So in that game, I got 1 point for predicting a Manchester United win of 4-2. So yeah, well done. So yeah, well done and congratulations to Manchester United and especially Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. If them two can keep on doing what they're doing, then I believe that Manchester United can go back to where they were. Just be title contenders and at least winning the Premier League title. I believe they can do that. So well done to Manchester United. So now the next game, of course, is Leicester City versus Wolves. Now, in my prediction, I predicted a Leicester win of 3-0, but the actual score was 1-0 to Leicester. Now, I saw Wolves lineup and they did the exact same lineup as Thomas Tuchel did, which goes three at the back, four in midfield, and three up top. I didn't expect that from the new manager, but he knew they had a plan. Wolves had so many chances to beat them, but unfortunately they couldn't do it, especially Adama Traore. I can't remember the last time he scored for Wolves in the Premier League. I really can't remember the last time. But yeah, Wolves lost, and it was a great goal by Jamie Vardy. A brilliant, like a flick to went past to the Wolves goalkeeper. That was a brilliant goal from Jamie Vardy, and it's his goal that made Leicester City win the game. Of course, Leicester had a few more chances, but Wolves did well to defend, and that's why that Wolves man that Wolves news that new Wolves manager had a plan, but unfortunately they couldn't convert it. They couldn't beat Wolves, so yeah. So I got 1 point for predicting a Leicester win, though. 1 point. So now let's move on into Chelsea, of course, my club against Crystal Palace. Now, like I said, I didn't watch the game because I went to my mum's friend's party, but I saw the result. And yeah, well done, especially Chalobah, which I'm going to talk about him in just a few minutes. But yeah, in my prediction, I predicted a Chelsea win of 4-0, but the actual result was 3-0 to Chelsea. I believe if Marcos Alonso had that chance, then my prediction, excuse me, would have been right. But brilliant performance, always dominating Crystal Palace as always. I don't think many didn't have much to do other than that Crystal Palace chance. He didn't have much to do. He was just standing there thinking, wow, am I playing or what? Should I just relax? I just like the way Mendy did that on Saturday. So yeah, he didn't have much to do. Marcos Alonso scored a brilliant free kick, which we all missed. I mean, Christian Pulisic is back after Ziyech had an injury. I don't know when Ziyech is going to be available for Chelsea right now because of a bad injury during the UEFA Super Cup. But let's hope that he's okay and returning back to Chelsea, hopefully after the international break, which is like in 2 weeks from today. Yeah, from today. So hopefully Ziyech is okay. But Pulisic scored a goal after he had a chance at the Super Cup, and then Chalobah. Oh my days! Like I said in my live watch along on Sunday, Chalobah, I was so happy for him. I almost was in tears as well because he scored on his Premier League debut. Thomas Tuchel had faith in him. And the only reason why he scored is because of the fans. If the fans did not say shoot, he would just he would just not score. But I'm gonna big up the fans for telling him to shoot. Yeah, big up all the fans who had faith in him, and well done to Chalobah. The way he was on his knees, so happy. I was just happy for him. I was just clapping him off and saying, Chalobah, you are gonna be a legend if you keep on doing this. Yeah. He's going to be a legend. Now, the problem is that Koundé is getting close to signing Chelsea Football Club. So, I'm not sure if Chalobah is still going to be the Chelsea player if after Koundé signs. I'm hoping that he will still stay because I believe he does really well in defense. You saw what happened, 100% pass accuracy. His stats against Crystal Palace were amazing. absolutely amazing. So big up to Chalobah. I thought he was my man of the match. It could have been Jorginho, but for me, I think Chalobah deserves the man of the match. Jorginho passed it in the midfield today. Crystal Palace just had no answer whatsoever. Just couldn't stop Chelsea doing the counter attacking. That's why we always dominate, and Crystal Palace always scared when they're facing Chelsea. So yes, well done to Chalobah and of course Chelsea for beating Crystal Palace 3-0 on Saturday afternoon. Now this one I was so surprised because I expected that team to win. So the next game is of course Watford against Aston Villa. Now in my prediction, I predicted a Aston Villa win of 2-0, but I was so shocked to see that the actual result was Watford 3, Aston Villa 2. I mean, and that's the first game that I got my prediction wrong because, to be honest with you, I expected Aston Villa to beat Watford because even though they sold Jack Grealish, who's become a Man City player, they still got Evie Martinez, who's been brilliant in goal last season. They've got John McGinn. They've got Buendia. So I expected Aston Villa to beat Watford, but that didn't happen. They just allowed Watford to do well in both halves. And Sarr was absolutely fantastic. You know, he was the top scorer for Watford last season, and it could happen again this season. So, Sarr, big up to you. You were absolutely brilliant. And that third goal, that Watford third goal was absolutely fantastic from that player. You know, just already this season, and we've been seeing best goals from that Leeds player when it went to 1-1. Chalobah, you know, that Watford player when it went 3-0. Best goals already this season. I mean, wow. That's why I like the Premier League. That's why they call it one of the best leagues in England. I'm not sure in the whole wide world, but the Premier League is the best league in England here in the UK. So that's why I love watching the Premier League. It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, unfortunately I got 0 points for predicting Aston Villa win, but hopefully when these two face each other again, hopefully Aston Villa will learn from that and be better than Watford. So yeah, well done to Watford. Their first game back in the Premier League and they beat Aston Villa. So well done to Watford. Now, the next game is of course Everton versus Southampton. Now in that game, I predicted a Everton win of 2-1 and the actual result was 3-1. Now before we recorded on Friday, my head was telling me it's going to be 3-1 to Southampton, but I'm thinking no, it's going to be 2-1 because Southampton are really good defensively. Of course, they're going to struggle a bit because Rafa Benitez is the new Everton manager, so that's why I predicted a 2-1. But if I would have gone for what my head was saying, then I would have got 3 points. I mean, Adam Armstrong scored on his Premier League debut when he signed from Blackburn Rovers, but then Everton just completely dominated the whole game. Calvin Lewis scored with a header, which is good, with Charlison as well, and I forgot who also scored against Everton. But yeah, I predicted the Everton win of 2-1 because they have allowed Danny Ings to sign to Aston Villa. They have allowed that to happen. You know, if they didn't let go of Danny Ings, maybe I could have predicted a draw. But I was thinking, no, I think Everton will win because Southampton, they're in deep trouble. Because once you've signed off your best player, that means you're in deep trouble, and that's what happened. So Southampton, I mean, even though I wanted to predict a draw, I just knew Everton will win because Southampton, they did the worst thing, absolutely the worst thing. So I feel bad for them. But well done to Everton. So the next game, of course, is Burnley versus Brighton. Now, in that game, I predicted a draw between Burnley and Brighton because these two teams last season were close to the relegation battle, but they did well to win all the games. You know, Brighton beating Man City, you know, Burnley beating Arsenal, these big teams. So that's why I predicted a draw. But unfortunately, I got 0 points in that game because Burnley Yeah, Burnley lose to Brighton 2-1. Neil Maupay scored the goal, and I can't remember the other one, but yeah, well done to Brighton. They didn't want that situation when they faced Chelsea in the first game when they've lost 3-1. So Brighton have to do everything they can to make sure they win on the first opening game of the Premier League, and that's what they did. So well done to Brighton. As for Burnley, I know they will continue to stay up because they've got a manager that's still a Burnley manager for so many years now. So many years. They trust in Sean Dyche. Of course, Burnley want to achieve by becoming above the mid-table, but it looks like it's going to be a struggle for them. But Burnley, um, um, of course, will not take a loss, but hopefully they can rebuild that for the next game. So yeah, but unfortunately, got 0 points and well done to Brighton. Now this game, I mean, oh my God, you know what? From now on, I'm gonna go with what my head is saying. What my head is saying because the next game, of course, was Norwich City against Liverpool. Now, in that game, I predicted a Liverpool win of 2-0, but I should have went for my head because the actual result on my days was 3-0 to Liverpool. I should have just gone with what my head is saying because my head was saying I think Liverpool are going to win 3-0, but I'm thinking no because Norwich City are, of course, they were good defensively last season, keeping the clean sheets. But I knew it's going to be a struggle because they're facing Liverpool, who's part of the Big Six. So I knew that Norwich City are going to have problems defensively. But I should have went for what my head was saying. I just cannot believe it. So guys, from now on, I'm gonna go with what my head is saying and not think to myself, I'm gonna change my mind. No, I'm gonna go with my head is saying. I just ruined another 3 points. At least I predicted Liverpool win, but I should have went for 3-0. So that's how stupid I was predicting a 2-0 win. So I got 1 point for that one. So of course the next game, which of course I predicted was Newcastle against West Ham. Now, in that game, I predicted a West Ham win of 3-2 because I knew there'll be goals in this game. You saw what happened last season. There was goals and Newcastle won, but West Ham got revenge on Newcastle and beat them for the first time at St James's Park. So yes, well done to West Ham. But the actual score was 4-2. Now, I'm going to talk about the VAR because so far it's just ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. You saw that penalty incident. For me, yeah, I don't think that was a penalty whatsoever. Newcastle player got the ball rather than Saïd Benrahma. That was absolutely poor from the officials. The first game of the Premier League season and the VAR got it absolutely wrong. For me, that wasn't a penalty. And if that would have happened, I would have got the 3 points. So for me, yeah, it's not my fault. It's not my brain's fault. It's the VAR that cost me that 3 points. So that was so unlucky. I felt bad for Newcastle because they would have had the chance to get back into the game, but that VAR cost them. But I knew that West Ham would win because they got Benrahma, who's who hasn't been that great but scored the goal. They've got Mikel Antonio who's been on fire for West Ham. 47 goals in his career, the same amount of goals as that player did a couple of years ago. So big up to Antonio. And West Ham, they just absolutely dominated them, especially in the second half after going 2-1 down. So I knew that West Ham would win, and I knew there would be lots of goals in this. But for me, when it went to 2-2, that was never a penalty whatsoever. Never penalty. That VAR is an absolute joke. An absolute joke. Just win my 3 points. But yeah, well done to West Ham. And last and not least, Tottenham against Man City, the big game. Now, in that game, I predicted a Tottenham win of 2-0, but the actual score was 1-0. Of course, Tottenham had so many chances, so many chances to make it, let's say, like maybe 2-0, 3-0 City. But of course, I knew that City is going to get lots of possession like they always do, but Tottenham have a really good record. This is the fifth time that Pep Guardiola lost away from home when facing Tottenham, whether it's White Hart Lane or Wembley or anything else, they'll always lose. This is the fifth time they've lost to Tottenham away from home at White Hart Lane, and that's really poor because I would have thought with this lineup, especially Jack Grealish starting, I would have personally thought that Man City will beat them. But Tottenham, they did well. They defended well. I thought Trenchango was absolutely fantastic in that game, and they did the right decision to give him the man of the match. Because if I was a Tottenham fan, I would agree on that one. So yeah, well done to Trenchango. Um, Defended really well and got his team to the perfect start. Beating Manchester City. Well, I've really thought that Man City could do it. I thought Jack Grealish was really poor in his first game. Really poor. He did well as he always does for Aston Villa, but he was so poor. Could have scored for himself, could have had most of the assists, but unfortunately that didn't happen for him, and his team lost. So yeah, City. I did predict that City would not do well when facing Tottenham at White Hart Lane. Away from home. So yeah, unfortunately for City, the first game and they've lost. But hopefully they will recover like they did last season when when they went so many games unbeaten and then Manchester United ended that. So hopefully City can rebuild on that and do well from now on. So yeah, but well done to Tottenham. Their first game, they were so scared, but they did everything they can to beat City, and they've done that. So well done to Tottenham. Now, now let's move. Now let's talk about how many points I've got. So of course, out of 30 points, I've got 8 points so far. 8 points because the only prediction I got wrong was the Aston Villa versus a Watford game and also the Burnley versus Brighton game. The rest of them I got 1 point. I could have had 3 points if I would have predicted a 3-0 win against Liverpool, 3-0 win against Norwich City, and also the Everton 3-1 win against Southampton. I would have got 3 points. But it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Hopefully on match day 2, I'll get the predictions right and get most of the 3 points in the next match day. So not a bad start. Could have been better, but hopefully I'll get a few 3 points and do well the next match day. Let's say get more points in the next match day than this one. So far, I've got to be 8 points because that's how many points I've got today out of 30 points. So hopefully I'll get more predictions right and get more points than this match day. So yeah. So that's it, guys. That's the end of my predictions review match day 1. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. Don't forget to hit the bell notifications so that you never miss out on my content. Click the like button and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. And I'll see you guys this Friday for a predictions on match day 2 for the Premier League. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look after yourselves, take care, and as always, up the Chels. Well done you Blues, especially Chalobah. Big up yourself. Take care guys, and I'll see you guys this Friday.